Hi, my name is David Schlossberg, and I'm the founder and senior partner at Assured Concepts Group. Thank you for joining me today. We've worked hard all of our lives to accumulate and keep our wealth. Many parents wish to leave a portion of that wealth behind for their family to make their lives a bit easier, while others find that leaving some or all to charities is an important part of who they are. And there are a few who say they plan to spend it all before they leave. But even those folks typically want to make sure that their spouse is properly planned for. And without proper planning, sometimes even that single financial aspect can get messed up. That last scenario, it reminds me of a story I saw in the newspaper about a husband and wife that saved all of their extra resources in the wife's retirement plan at work. As they were nearing retirement while living modestly, they had come to save $1 million in that plan when the wife suddenly and unexpectedly passed. Of course, the husband filed documents to transfer the retirement plan in his name, but after a review process took place, the retirement plan said, sorry, those funds belong to your wife's sister. It turns out that 30 years prior, when the wife started on the job and before they were to marry, the wife listed her mother and 3 sisters as beneficiaries on the retirement plan documents. The mother and 2 of the sisters had since passed, but one sister was still alive, and it happened to be the sister that they had stopped communicating with several decades earlier. You can imagine the husband's surprise. Well, he had sued, and it went all the way to the state Supreme Court. The judge's ruling was in favor of the sister. They exclaimed, "We cannot read your deceased spouse's mind. Unfortunately, this was the last written and signed document governing the retirement plan, and we are required to abide by her written directive." Stories of this nature abound. Are you certain today who is the beneficiary of all your assets? Another question to ask, if you have 2 children, and they each have 2 children, and one of your kids predeceases you or passes with you in a common accident, where does your money go? Does half go to your living child and the other half to the other child's kids? Or does 100% go to your surviving child? These are important questions which should be addressed with proper planning. I have a friend whose uncle received his wife's IRA with $1.3 million in it in 2001 when the uncle's wife, his aunt, had passed away. The uncle had a friend that worked at a major stock brokerage firm, and he gave him the IRA to invest. This stockbroker, in the volatile markets of the early 2000s, took pretty aggressive moves and substantially grew the account to $2 million when the uncle died 3 years later in 2004. At first glance, growing the account like that during a difficult time for the market, it appeared on the surface that they had a good advisor. But here's what happened. In addition to the IRA, the uncle also had a house and a small business that were valued at $1.5 million combined. Because of the total estate value, an estate tax bill of just over $1 million was due 9 months after the uncle passed. The adult kids, which is my friend's cousins, were busy arguing over the house and the business. They had no liquid cash beside the IRA, so they went to the advisor to draw the $1 million to pay the estate taxes. When they withdrew the IRA money to pay the estate tax, they also had an income tax that they had to pay on the IRA withdrawal as well. By the time they paid the federal income tax and the federal estate tax, they had paid over $1.5 million in taxes, leaving under $500,000 left in the IRA. Would you be surprised to hear that with a tiny bit of leave planning, there would have been no taxes due at all? The advisor was an investment guy and was not aware of the other areas of financial advisory services. The family wound up with less than $500,000 in the IRA when they were all said and done, when they originally had $1.3 million that grew to $2 million. So was this investment manager that did a good job of growing the IRA a good financial advisor? Perhaps you already have an advisor like him. At Assured Concepts, we believe that there is more to financial success than the rate of return that you achieve. Part of that being, does what you have worked so hard to accumulate get to the parties you want to go to with the least bit of erosion as necessary? There are so many questions to be addressed in this area of planning. Questions such as, what does it mean to die intestate and what are the consequences? Should I have a will or a trust? What are the advantages and disadvantages of each? How does a revocable living trust differ from an irrevocable trust? If I have a will that creates a trust at my death, do I have the same protections as doing a trust today? What will be the tax consequences to my IRA when I pass? And can I ensure that my beneficiaries structure that to their greatest advantage? Will my estate be subject to federal estate tax? And what about estate tax? Can I protect my kids' inheritance from creditors or in the event of a divorce? How can I best protect availability for my special needs child? As a parent in this category myself, I know how important planning here can be. If my kids are young or spendthrifts, how can I restrict them from unfettered access to their inheritance? There are so many more questions like these to be asked. At Assured Concepts Group, as comprehensive financial advisors, we believe that it's important to go beyond investment management and take a 50,000-foot view of our clients' overall financial needs, like a family CFO. To us, those needs would incorporate all four corners of our planning services, from vision casting to growing to keeping and also to leaving your money. Please feel free to contact us for an initial consultation. We'd be glad to provide you with some awareness so that you can see how your current plans are doing at leaving your money efficiently. Thank you for joining me today. My name is David Schlossberg, and we look forward to being of service to you.